Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
No.
Welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability. Today I have with me Sandra Desch, who is an author, a teacher, amazing person. She looks great today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Heather, for having me here. I'm so excited.
I'm excited that you're here too. You're on your third book, and we've got them all here. Before we talk about the book, let's talk about you and your background. Are you from the Bay Area?
Yes. Sure. I was born and raised here in the Bay Area, and I grew up in Los Gatos, and I went to San Jose State and got a bachelor's degree in social sciences, and I substitute teach. I've been substitute teaching for 16 years in the Santa Clara Unified School District, and sometimes I teach in the Los Gatos School District. And I teach, I've taught high school, middle school, and elementary school. And I have a fond love for working with special education children.
And you worked hard, right, to put yourself through college, just like me.
Yes.
You worked. I know myself, a lot of people don't know, I waited tables, I bartended, I cleaned offices early on. Before I started San Jose State, I was a dental assistant for 3 years, made a terrible dental assistant. You did a variety of things too to put yourself through college.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it wasn't here you go, silver spoon, go to college. You worked your excuse my language, your butt off.
Yeah. I waited on tables.
Yeah. And you are a successful author now, and you have people constantly wanting you to substitute teach because you're a really good teacher.
Oh, thank you, Heather.
I know that you get the calls all the time, and sometimes you got to take a break, and it takes time for you.
Yes.
So, which is a good thing. And this is amazing that you have 3 books. What inspired you? Tell us about the books, and tell us what inspired you.
Okay, well, let me give you a background story first. So it was about 15 years ago. I decided to journal, and so I got my laptop, and I went down to the local coffee shop, and I began to journal. And through the journaling, I got into the writing practice, and I also learned how to use my imagination. Which led me to be able to write these books. So, yes.
So what inspired you to journal in the first place? Did somebody say, hey, you're a good writer, you should journal? Or did you just someday say, I want to start journaling?
Well, I've always journaled ever since I was little. So, in middle school and high school.
But handwriting.
Yeah.
And then you got into the computer thing, journaling later.
Yeah.
And was it always, you said a Mac? Or were you a PC person and then switched over?
I've always been a Mac.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then...
and the book's Erika Flowers?
Yeah, so what happened was, so as I was journaling, I used my imagination to write children's stories and poetry and so forth. And so I did this for 9 years, and about 8,000 pages.
Wow!
And then my computer was taken, or it was I had lost it. So what I did was I stopped writing for a little while. And
wait, you said 8,000 pages?
Yeah, I wrote 8,000.
8 or
pages.
10?
8,000 pages.
8,000. That's a lot of pages.
Yeah, it was over a 9 year.
And is that like regular pages, or is that like book pages where it's double spaced?
It was a computer, single spaced. And so what I did was I went over to the Apple store and bought a new computer. And I decided that I did not want to journal anymore. So I thought, okay, well, why don't I start writing the children's stories? And I can use the same technique using my imagination that I did in my journal to write the stories. So I started writing short children's stories, and I wrote about 10, 15 short children's stories. And there was one children's story that I really liked, and I decided to make it into a 7-chapter book. And it was Erika Flowers, about a kindergartner. And it was so much fun to write. So I got to I got to pretend to be a kindergarten and let my imagination flow. And so I wrote about all her experiences as a kindergartner.
And that was the first one?
That was the first one, yeah.
And then you started doing a second one.
Yeah. So after.
Okay. So back up to so what inspired you to write the children's book? Was it because you were teaching and you thought?
Well, what inspired? Okay, so I've always wanted to write children's stories. When I was little, I used to write a lot of little stories, but I never finished them. And my grandfather gave me a little spelling book that he wrote, don't give up, finish your stories and look up the words that you can't spell. I was a terrible speller. So I've always wanted, that's always been my dream. And so being in the classroom and around all these children and watching them interact and solve problems together and learn, life lessons in the classroom and so forth. So, I thought, wow, this will be great. I can take some of my experiences from the classroom and start writing the books. Yeah. So,
and how long does it take you? Did it take you for the first one and then the second one? Was it a longer process or shorter?
About a year.
About a year.
A year for each book. Yeah.
Did you take any special classes on? Did you go back and take a workshop, or is it just because you're a natural writer?
Well, my first book was pretty rough, but it was easy to get the first draft out. So that was the easy part because I learned through journaling how to use my imagination, right? To just because I'd watch the pictures flow through my mind and I'd be able to write what I'd see. So it was really easy, the rough draft, but the editing, that was tough. That was really tough.
Did you do that on your own or did you get help?
I had a friend help me, and what I would say to writers, if you're going to write, get an editor, get a professional editor.
Is that the number one thing that you've learned?
I would say, yeah.
Because it's a learning process, probably doing your first book and then second and third.
Yeah, yes.
So finding a good editor, is it?
Finding a good editor is really important. And I had my publisher format my first book, and so I didn't have to format it. That was great. But my second and third book, I formatted. And that was tough. That was really difficult for me. And so thank goodness for the Apple Store next to my coffee shop.
So if people are listening, what is the biggest advice you would get? Then get an editor, or get a program, maybe a writing program.
Well, I use Pages, Apple Pages. So that's how
it's a good convenient.
Yeah, it really worked for me. The first book, Erika Flowers, Seeds of Grace.
That's this one?
Yes.
Okay.
My publisher, actually, she formatted that book.
She did?
Yeah. And so I had wrote it on Pages, and then I had to send her my Pages document, and then she used InDesign.
I'm going to open up it just so they can see some graphics. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
big shout out for Cathrine Wood Phipps. She's an amazing artist.
This is great.
Yeah.
I love this on the back. We've got some skates there. So that's kind of the middle that I just showed. And so that's the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the second one here?
Yes.
And then this is the third one. And this is called?
That one's called Wings, Adventures with Erika Flowers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they're going to flash on screen where people can find this
Yeah.
and find information on your Facebook page. Again, I'm going to turn this around so you can see the other graphic there. And then should I show inside a graphic too? Should I open it up and show?
Sure, that'd be great.
Let's see. I'm going to just pick one. Here, I like this one. I'm going to pick this one. Go back. This is cute. Art school.
Oh, yeah.
So it's funny because when I was a kid, art was probably one of my favorite subjects. But it wasn't practical, right, to be an artist. So I went a different direction. And I remember my last semester at San Jose State, an art teacher was like, "You should change majors. You're really good at this." And no, I'm not going to do it because I changed majors like 3 times already. And as you know, paid our way through college. It was hard. I can't imagine now how it is for people trying to work their way through college.
I know.
In the economy now. I mean, I always had
crazy.
2 or 3 jobs every semester. And then, of course, went down to 1 job the last semester because it's harder. But, you know, to be able to have that talent and to write is amazing. I like writing, but I'm definitely not a good editor. And the editing thing, Forbes, I think, used to have 100 editors and fact checkers.